This video will demonstrate the proper assembly procedure for an SAE J1453 fitting, commonly referred to as an O-ring face seal connection. When properly assembled, this connection is highly reliable and leak-free. This type of connection consists of two parts, the first being a male thread with a precision grooved cavity and a captive O-ring. The second part is a female thread with a mating face. This connection will either be a swivel connection like a swivel hose end, or a rigid female such as some caps or reducers. The connection is made when the female thread is tightened over the male thread, mating the faces together. Applying force compresses the captive O-ring seal. To begin assembly, follow these steps. Inspect the male fitting for proper O-ring installation. The O-ring must be present and fully captured within its retaining cavity. It is always best to keep the fittings capped and plugged prior to this step to avoid potential contamination. Tompkins recommends lubricating all connections for superior leak resistance. Since plating types and thicknesses vary, lubrication not only helps to provide a more constant coefficient of friction, it also produces greater clamping force with less effort. Lubricate the male or female threads, as well as the mating faces, with system fluid or other compatible light lubricant. A single drop swabbed on the O-ring and a single drop on the threads is sufficient. To not lubricate is to sacrifice quality for expediency. Align the mating components and begin assembly by turning the female nut by hand until the faces contact. Using a wrench, continue to tighten the female nut until firm resistance is felt. This is the point referred to as wrench resistance. Once the point of wrench resistance is achieved, make a witness mark using a paint marker to create an indication line between the female nut and the mating component. At this point, a few different methods can be followed. The preferred method for installing O-ring face seal fittings is the use of a torque wrench. When a backup wrench pad is available, place one wrench on the pad to prevent the hose or fitting from turning and use a torque wrench to tighten the female nut. The amount of torque required will depend on the size of the connection being made. Once the female nut has been turned to the proper torque value, make a second witness mark on the mating surface in line with the witness mark previously made on the female nut. These offset witness marks will give a visual indication that this connection has been properly assembled. Following these instructions and using proper routing techniques for the mating hose or tube assembly will ensure a reliable and leak-free connection. You may contact a Tompkins representative for a recommended torque values.
Thank you for calling Tompkins.